Hey Coyote fans, welcome into the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. We're joined as always by head volleyball coach Leanne Williamson as the Coyotes prepare for the final matchup of the regular season. Coach, before we get into that, obviously two matchups on a road trip last week didn't go the way that your team had hoped, kind of fell behind in a couple of matches and not quite able to recover. Started off at St. Thomas, just not able to find that groove.
Yeah, I felt like it took us just too long to really get into our rhythm, and we did hit it. I mean, we made a good run at the end of set one, and you could see our edge kind of come back, but we just started a little bit too slow and had a hard time getting into it. But obviously, like the way we were able to bounce back at times, you know, we actually played, if I look at percentages, a good percentage of the match at St. Thomas at a pretty high level. Obviously, there's still going to be back and forth when you're playing good teams, but I felt like we took care of our side decently well, but down the stretch we really struggled. Made more hitting errors even in set two when we were up, let them come back in towards the end, so just couldn't consistently do it. But we had some really good performances. Both Cameron and Cheyenne had great matches individually, but just as a team couldn't put it all together at the same time. When
you have those moments, you see some players who are finding their groove but others not. How do you try to mesh that thing together and keep those players obviously playing at a high level?
I mean, I think a lot of times you got to rely on those players, to continue to help us continue to move forward in that way. But there are times that it just feels like, at times things are working against us. But, Cameron obviously had a career high in digs, kept the ball alive a lot, gave our offense a lot of opportunities to attack, which was really good to see and something that I think we've known she could do. And that was probably one of her better matches of her career. And then Cheyenne, we just got her the ball more often. We've had times where we went away from her. Maybe her and Avery's connection just wasn't as good. But obviously that night it was going really well, and I loved that Avery felt confident, getting her the ball in some pretty tough situations.
It was then on to Omaha and fall into a little bit of a hole there, unfortunately. Keep the match alive and keep giving hope, but unfortunately doesn't go your way.
Anybody who watched that match, I saw some things that were probably uncharacteristic of us. We didn't pass well at all, and that's something that overall we've been pretty consistent with. Doesn't mean we're always perfect. Obviously that's not something that we're trying to achieve, but usually we're passing above a 2-0, where we're able to get our hitters in a pretty good rhythm and let Avery kind of set with range. And we got ace more often than what we're used to, and just a lot of one passes where we're out of system a lot. So our outsides took a lot of swings. They took a lot of swings in front of a really big block. I mean, Omaha's very long and takes away a lot of space. So without that in-system attacking, just made it a lot harder for us to get into a rhythm. But not that passing was our only thing, but it was the thing that was something that we're not used to seeing, and definitely something that I think we're going to bounce back from. But it just made some of the other parts of the game a little bit more difficult as well.
You have continued to emphasize the serve and pass game. You say it all the time, and so when you bring up passing issues, obviously you can easily go to figure out what the issue was. Something that feels very correctable for your team that you mentioned is usually pretty good at that. Is that something that you have to talk about a lot, or is this just get back on the floor, do it, and get that confidence back?
I mean, we're a pretty honest coaching staff with our team, and we want them to kind of understand, what's really happening. And here's the thing, they all knew. I mean, our players that are normally out there passing knew that they did not have a very good game. And so a lot of it was even just saying, like, hey, this isn't us. Like, this isn't going to happen again. We got to let this one go. We'll get back to it today. We'll practice it, get on the court and work through some of that stuff. But I feel confident that we're going to be able to correct that change just by understanding that, that is a strength of ours normally. And I think relying on that.
You always want to be playing your best towards the end of the season. Obviously, a couple of setbacks this past week. How do you just try to move forward from that and get this team refocused? Because we've seen at times this team play extremely good volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that we keep talking about and we keep showing them of just when we have things moving in the same direction, we're going to be really, really hard to beat. And, even though we didn't necessarily achieve our goal during the regular season, there's still a lot more volleyball to be played. But, obviously to begin with, going 1-0 against South Dakota State, it's a great matchup for us. It's a great opportunity to be at home, for our final match of the regular season, and a great opportunity for us to really focus on just playing Coyote volleyball on our our side. And then again, I think competing at a high level and giving ourselves a chance to win at the end of the games.
Coyotes are back home for a Tuesday night matchup with South Dakota State to wrap up the regular season. Then it's on to the Summit League Volleyball Tournament. When we come back, we'll talk with Coach Williamson about what's ahead for Coyote Volleyball. This is the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. This segment brought to you by Scooters Coffee. Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast. Back in the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. I'm John Thayer, joined as always by the head coach of Coyote Volleyball, Leanne Williamson. Coach, one matchup remains in the regular season, the season flying by, but we're in November, so we should be ready for the end of the regular seasons. It's against South Dakota State. Obviously, only one loss on the season for South Dakota State, a matchup in which your team felt like it had opportunities in Brookings about a month ago, and South Dakota State came on top, but a really good match played in Brookings.
Yeah, I mean, we overall, probably 4 out of the 5 sets, I think we walked away feeling pretty good about what we were doing. Had opportunities to put the match away in set 4, and honestly had good looks too. Gave ourselves opportunities with a good pass. Had some one-on-ones and just didn't quite execute. But obviously that's what good teams are going to do. They're going to continue to push, and South Dakota State, credit to them, found a way to win down the stretch there and then push it to 5. But overall, I felt like we did some really good things offensively. I think blocking wise, our middles did their job pretty well. There's definitely some small things that we feel like that we could have adjusted, and looking forward to obviously seeing that in motion tomorrow. When
you look at South Dakota State, and obviously you've already played them once, I'm sure you've watched them plenty, what challenges do they present for your team?
I mean, offensively, obviously being in that 6-2, they have 3 hitters across the net, all the time, and it just doesn't allow you to focus in on certain hitters as much. I mean, they're able to be balanced. They obviously have a few people that tend to get a few more swings, but they get everybody involved, which makes it difficult to defend at times. Their middles are good. They hit it for a pretty high percentage most of the time, and they're long. Blocking wise, it's going to be similar to what we've seen on Saturday against Omaha. There's going to be a lot of hands in front of us, and it's going to be taking up a lot of space. But again, something that I felt like our outsides especially handled pretty well last time, of understanding kind of what shots were going to be available for them in both in-system and out-of-system situations. So they're a good team. They compete really hard. They're a confident group, and it should be a really fun matchup.
Win or lose, how important is this matchup for your team as you get ready for the conference tournament?
I think it's just important to continue to see ourselves learning, continue to see ourselves growing, and we do have still a good amount of young talent on the floor. So with every opportunity brings, win or loss, it brings an opportunity to learn something. Whether it's a certain player on how to hit certain shots, or maybe losing the aggressiveness, or defensively understanding situations. Just every single one of those opportunities gives us a chance to give them more feedback on the back end.
I know you're focused obviously on South Dakota State, but as you look ahead, Summit League Tournament is just around the corner. What do you have to do to try to get this group just mentally ready, understanding that obviously it could be their final match if they are not able to win, and keep moving forward?
I think number one, we're going to continue to focus on, playing like it is our last match, and the hard part is we don't have as many people that have gone through that at this point in time in terms of being a part of a conference tournament, playing in the NIVC or the NCAA tournament. However, they know that it's getting towards the end. They know that everything that they've worked towards is, really in front of us now. So we'll talk about it. I think we'll prepare ourselves the best we can, but some of it is they got to step on the floor and understand what they're fighting for. And one big positive is this team absolutely loves each other. They are an extremely close team. They enjoy time with each other, both on and off the court. They laugh a lot. They have a great time, and they're fighting for more time with each other. And I think that's a great thing to be fighting for.
We're excited for it. Should be a fun week, Coach. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that's Coyote Volleyball Coach Leanne Williamson. Coyotes home Tuesday night against South Dakota State, and then they'll open Summit League Championship play on Sunday down in Kansas City. This has been the Coyote Volleyball Show presented by Scooters Coffee. The Coyote Volleyball Show is brought to you by Scooters Coffee. Scooters Coffee. Amazing drinks, amazing people, amazingly fast.